Good morning, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Thought I would show you what's on my windowsill in terms of what's growing. People are always asking me questions about, what I grow, how do I grow things. So I take the approach of sort of the frugal gardener, and that, I want a really full garden or balcony or porch, whatever space I have. I want to make it bountiful, abundant, pretty, and full of things that I can eat, but also things that the wildlife can eat. The bees, the hummingbirds, the dragonflies, they're all pollinators of some sort. And so this whole idea of planting things for food, it goes beyond us and certainly beyond me. I just enjoy having the beauty of the green and the colors, and then the satisfaction of being able to pick something and just eat it right in front of your door. So I'll show you, every time I get something like lettuce or onions at the grocery store, I try my hand at growing them myself. And these are leeks. I just cut them last night because I made soup. They already had some beautiful rooting at the bottom, and I put them in water. And overnight this morning, I already see this popping up, this middle green part. It's already popping up, which means that it wants to push out more plant. So once that sprouts up and takes root and gets a little strong, I'll peel off all these outer layers, and then I'll plant that new growth into the ground. So, or in a pot, it doesn't matter, but it's a cold weather crop. It's getting cold. So once the heat wave kind of subsides, it'll be a great time to put it outside and have some leeks in the fall. So that's really exciting. Here, this is not really meant to sprout or anything. These are olives from Palestine that I bought from a vendor at a conference recently, and he told me about the fact that they were from his family's olive garden back home. And every time I really enjoy the flavor of something, or I find that something's really unique, I try to save the seed. So I just haven't had a chance to actually plant them. And these will probably go under grow lights or a greenhouse, depending on, I don't have a hot greenhouse, so if once it gets cold, they'd have to come inside anyway. But I'm going to just try my hand and see if they sprout. So in the meantime, I'm just keeping them in some water. And the same for these over here, which are Kalamata olives from, let's see if I can get rid of some of the water. These are Kalamata olives from a woman at a local farmer's market. There's still some meat on them, but she has a farm in Greece, and she grows olives, and she harvests them twice a year. So she sells the olives and the olive oil at the farmer's market nearby me, and after having talked to her and everything, the olives were so delicious. I think those were my favorite ever. I decided to see if I could grow my own little plant, because there are ways to grow these olive trees indoors and get small plants that produce olives. So you don't need, the ginormous olive tree, although if you have the space for that, awesome, even better. Here is all my basil. I have so much basil here. I mean, look, take a look. This is so much basil. But what I'm doing is very planned out and thought out. This is a basil plant I got from a store. It had actually so many more plants on it. And what I'm doing is just cutting the ones that are getting long, like this one should be cut, and putting them in water. And I, take leaves like this. If they're brown, this will go into the compost. If they're nice and long, I'll just use them in cooking, or I'll put them in some olive oil, and I've done videos about that before. But I just put them in some olive oil and cover it in olive oil, cover the leaves in olive oil, put them in a container in the freezer, and then when I want to make a sauce or a stew or something and I want to add that basil flavor, I just pour the whole thing, oil and basil, into it. And so that's another way to preserve it. But right now what I'm doing with the plants is rooting them. So if you can see this one here, this has so many roots. Look at that, isn't it amazing? It's so gorgeous. Oh, this just makes me happy to see. It's like, so these will get separated because they kind of fuse together. I'll separate them, and that's 3 new plants. And keeping them nice all winter will give me fresh basil all winter, and that gets pretty pricey at the store, you know, so why not do it yourself? This is a begonia plant that, it's a cutting actually, that I got from my friend's garden. I just said, hey, you know, your begonia is doing beautifully, can I have a cutting? Because, you know, she's got to prune it back anyway. And of course she was so generous and gave it to me. And these are some of my favorite plants. If you know what begonia looks like, they're just, they're kind of this like tough and rubbery, but soft. They have soft leaves, and they can be pink or red, and I think hers were red. And they're great indoor plants in the Midwest, and so I'm trying to root that plant. It's got some tiny roots, I don't know if you can see, really tiny roots there. And so I'm gonna wait until they go deep into the water, and then once they get long and strong, I'll put them in some potting soil and keep those in the house over the winter. These are romaine lettuce heads. They're getting a little brown, so I'm not sure if these are gonna survive, but typically, and it's because I didn't have an extra cup, so I think I need to move this and give this its own space, but that might even be too much water. But basically the new growth will come right here, sort of like the leeks, and then you have to see, when I was reading about this stuff online or anything, when it came to rooting things like lettuce, I thought you would just see the growth and then stick the whole thing in the ground. That's not, it never worked. And I thought, you know, how is it that it never works that way? So I don't know, I was just sort of playing around with things, and then I realized once all that new growth comes, you kind of let it get a little strong and then peel back all these outer layers of old leaves, and you only pull up the strong new growth, and it's going to be really small, but hopefully it's small but strong, and then you put that new growth into dirt. And I've actually done that with some romaine lettuce, organic romaine lettuce heads last week, and they're now outside on my porch rooting really, really well. So I'm so happy about that, because I finally cracked the code, because no one kind of mentioned that. I didn't come across anything. I'm sure somebody out there, you know, taught how to do it, but I was doing it wrong. Okay, so these are just wildflowers, and they're they did have these blue flower petals on them, but I was looking for something to put into this pretty vase that I got in one of the towns nearby. It's a handmade pottery, so I wanted to do something with it. And over here it's the same thing. There were blue flowers, but not anymore. They've kind of fell off, but I'm just keeping them in here because they look like they're about to bloom, and I just love the vase. I wanted something that I could put in this vase, and I got this beautiful clay pottery. I love clay pottery. A vase at a local, like, a thrift store, I think, for maybe $1. So those are things that you know, just make me happy in the morning. I take a look, see what's growing, see what I can do for my plants, and you know, you take care of them and they take care of you. So if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. Thanks everyone, have a good day. Assalamu alaikum.